Hi everyone, welcome to this week's new video at Visiting the Dutch Countryside. Voor de mensen die are new, hi, welcome. Welcome. My name is Manon and I am Dutch and I am your personal tour guide for the Netherlands. In this week's video we're going to be talking about the Vierdaagse, which is one of the highlights in the Netherlands and one of the largest events in the Netherlands and the largest walking event in the world. Which might sound a bit boring, but it's anything but that. So don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe with the little notification bell so you won't miss out on any of my other upcoming videos. And you can now also join me on my Patreon, linked in my bio. And let's head into this week's video. So this video is going to be about the Nijmeegse Vierdaagse, or the 4 days march in Nijmegen. It is one of the most famous walks across the world, but why is it so famous? What's the history about it? And what exactly is it? Well, yeah, you will find all of that and more in this video. So if you want to visit Nijmegen, then I would recommend you to visit Nijmegen for roughly 4 days at least in July, because that is when the Vierdaagse is taking place. But Nijmegen is a beautiful city and has a lovely atmosphere at any time of the year. And it is the oldest city that you can find in the Netherlands. But remember that Nijmegen is located in the province of Gelderland and not in the Holland region. So the Nijmegen 4 days march, Vierdaagse in Dutch, which literally translates to 4 days, was first held in 1909. Although it was very different than it is nowadays. So the government and councils were trying to make people move more and created the beginning of one of the most famous walks around the world. So on the 3rd of April 1908, the Dutch Association for Physical Exercise was established. The first big achievement of this organization was the creation of a 4 days march and its first edition back in 1909. Back then it was mainly organized for soldiers, and the first edition of the 4 day march in Nijmegen had 306 participants, of which only 10 civilians. They covered 140 kilometers in 4 days and returned to the starting place only on the last day. Then, during the years of 1914 and 1915, the 4 days marches of the Netherlands were cancelled due to the mobilization because of the First World War. And an interesting thing to know is that before 1925, people could start the 4 days marches in 12 other places besides just Nijmegen. Nijmegen became the starting place of the 4 day marches in 1925. Back in 1928, the first foreign participants joined the fun. That's when this walk in Nijmegen became an international walking tour and event in the Netherlands. Nowadays, the Vierdaagse of Nijmegen is also famous throughout the Netherlands and for its parties and events. The first time parties were organized for the Vierdaagse was in 1970. The 4 days march of Nijmegen used to be calm and not an event for the entire city, which was changed by the parties and events. And thanks to that, people were going out of the streets to celebrate and to enjoy the event. The million participants of the marches of Nijmegen participated in 1998, and then in 2006 the March of Nijmegen was cancelled after the first day because of the heat. So a lot of hikers suffered from dehydration and heat strokes, which eventually caused the emergency services to become overloaded. So it wasn't responsible to continue the event, obviously. So a lot of people want to walk the several distances in the 4 days march of Nijmegen, but not everyone can participate. So there are roughly 47,000 people that are allowed to walk each day. When more people registered than that amount, there will be a draw. So people who have completed this walk before, teens between 12 and 15, and people who were drawn out in the previous 2 events are all able to participate because they won't be added to the draw, but are accepted immediately. The draw is usually in the month of March. You can also participate when you are a wheelchair user. There's a thing. You cannot choose which distance you want to walk. Sometimes you do have a choice, but that depends on your age. So your birth year decides which distance is suitable for you. So the march is usually held from Tuesday until Friday, roughly around the 3rd week of July. Then you also have a flag parade of 1,500 people, military and civilians, which is held on the Sunday afternoon before the walk starts on Tuesday. So there's often obviously a cost that you need to pay, so roughly 80 to 90 euros. To participate in the march, and then when you want to get a certificate, you can choose that when you register. So there are 3 distances: 50 kilometers, 40 kilometers and 30 kilometers. So the 50 kilometers obviously stopped first. in the morning. Because it starts really early. Because it's July, it's generally the hottest time, the hottest month, together with August in the Netherlands. And we want people to be safe. So generally speaking, individuals start between 4 or 4:30 in the morning and have to be finished between 12 and 5. Then groups start between 4 and 4:30 as well, also have to be finished between 12 and 5. Then for 40 kilometers, individuals start between 4:45 and 5:30 or 5:45 and 6:30. They have to finish between 12 and 5. Then groups start between 4:30 and 5:15, have to finish between 12 and 5. Then for 30 kilometers, individuals have to start between 6:45 and 7:15 or 7:30 and 8, and also be finished between 12 and 5. Then groups start between 6:30 and 7 and also need to be finished between 12 and 5. And then on the last Friday, everyone can finish between 12 and 6. So the average temperature in Nijmegen in July is 16.9 degrees Celsius. The average lowest temperature is 12.1. The average maximum temperature is 21.5 degrees Celsius. There are plenty of warm days during the month of July, and during July the average precipitation in Nijmegen is 76 millimeters, but it depends, really depends. Another part of the Walk of the World is the 7 hills in Groesbeek. So these 7 hills, or the 7 heuvelen as we call them in Dutch, is the hardest part of the International 4 Days March in Nijmegen in July. So you can also go there if you, of course, do not participate. You can do that another time, not during the walk, obviously. But yeah, it is. They are hilly, definitely. So one of the great things about Nijmegen and the 4 Days March is that it is a lot of. So there are these festivities that we call Vierdaagse feesten, meaning 4 days parties. In an entire week. It is, yeah, a lot of people go pretty mental in a good way, but yeah, it's really fun. So if you're looking for some fun free parties to visit, head to Nijmegen during July for an entire week, and I can guarantee that it will be fun. A lot of fun. Another thing, if you want to visit Nijmegen for the Walk of the World, or the Vierdaagse, or 4 Days March, whatever you want to call it, make sure to arrive either by bike or public transportation, because parking lots are sparse and trains run often, even though they're crowded. But it's only a little walk from the train station of Nijmegen to the city center, and it's the best way, in my opinion. So during the last day, you can either stand, watch, or you can sit on a platform at Via Gladiola, which is the place where people finish. You can buy tickets to sit there. You don't have to sit on the platform to see the hikers come in, as most of the route is open, only has some gates in front of them. I didn't sit on them, but if you prefer to sit, then you can sit. But you need to buy a ticket. So I said Via Gladioli, but you will see gladioli flowers everywhere. And hikers are offered gladioli by the public, and it's really fun to see because it's on the last day. Everyone is walking around with these big bushes of these big, how do you call it? Bossen? Yeah, bushes, I don't know. These big packages of gladioli flowers, and they're everywhere, and it's so cool. But why are they offered gladioli by the public? So that has to do with gladiators. So that of the gladiolus was always chanted from the stands when the gladiators in the arena fought each other to death with the help of a sword. The winner was buried in gladioli after the battle. So gladiolus comes from the Latin word gladius, which means sword, and that explains the name of the flower as it has a sword-shaped appearance. So the gladiolus has become a sign of strength and victory. So the flower is only earned after a special performance, and finishing the Walk of the World is that special performance and an incredible achievement. That's also why the Sint Annastraat is transformed into Via Gladiola and is the finish for the hikers on the last day of the 4 Days March. You can find many different genres of music all throughout the city of Nijmegen during the 3rd week of July. So from blues to hip-hop and to salsa to rock, from Dutch music to pop. So besides music events, there are a lot of theatre performances and even special events for kids. These parties and events take place from Monday until Friday. Some fun facts about the Vierdaagse: there are more than 1,000 performances. There are more than 100 street theatre performances and marching bands. There is more than 18,000 square meters of terraces. 300 outside bars have been placed for the Walk of Nijmegen. 381,000 unique visitors that together bring around 1.6 million visits. Visitors spend around 43.5 euros a day. Visitors and locals drink more than 1.25 million liters of alcohol together. Almost all performances are free, with the exception of intimate concerts in the Stevenskerk and a few performances at Festival Eiland. There are 46 locations for the 1,000 performances, and yeah, that is pretty much it. But it is an experience. It's like there is a big fanfare party all throughout the city. Thank you so much for watching this week's video about the Vierdaagse of Nijmegen, or the 4-day marches, or the Walk of the World, or however you want to call it. I hope you enjoyed it, I hope you learned something about it, and I hope that it has helped you understand more about the Vierdaagse, its history, and why it's so special and important. So yeah, without further ado, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe with the little notification bell so you won't miss out on any of my other upcoming videos. Don't forget to join me on my Patreon, link below. Big thank you to my patrons, and I will see you next time.